Masati, once again we meet, and I'm so excited to get a chance to have a conversation with you this evening about the way that the world is changing and
Mhm.
ADHD and success and what success looks like in a world like what we're
Mhm.
living in
Yeah.
and all sorts of different things like this. And
Yeah.
so, everybody, welcome to the Mindful Mutiny podcast. Very happy to have you here. Tonight's going to be a robust and interesting conversation between Masati and I. And Mas, we've been friends for a really long time, but
Absolutely.
some of the people who are watching this evening might
Mhm.
not know much about you. Can you talk about who you are, what's happened to you, and what you do?
Sure. Well, I've had a few near-death experiences, and it's allowed me to really search. I think what most people search for in life. The true meaning of life, what life is about, and like you were talking about, Jeremy, in today's world, people are like scrambling after money and or scrambling after fortune and fame and all that stuff. And it's in today, it's like, gosh, that's not where it is, you know. And they go towards the spiritual side, and that's not where it is either, or the religious side. So from those three near-death experiences, from like 14 years of I would call research and hundreds of over 100,000 client sessions, I've literally formulated a science called exponential intelligence. And so what I'm speaking about is going to be very different than what you normally hear because it's not rehashed from AI or what's written in history or anything like that. It's probably a cleaner version of what you've seen in history, but what I'm saying actually like makes sense. It'll probably hit you in the heart more than the mind, which is good. And what I do simply is some people call me the godfather of frequency. People call me the frequency architect. But what I see is like how you render yourself before it hits the brain. And that's what's important. Most people try to change the mental imagery of who they are here. It doesn't really work out. What I do is change you upriver, the intelligence that created you in a very fast way. And you've experienced it yourself, buddy. So basically, that's what I do. I help transform people in a really, really fast, unconventional way to become their best possible version.
And Moss, what you do is you do courses, you do frequency meditations, you do hyper
Yes.
meditations, you do all
Yeah.
sorts of things. I know that you have some things kind of coming up
Mhm.
that you're going to be doing. Can you talk about what you have coming up and the way in which people can get involved in what you do?
Yeah, one of the best ways is what's called what you were mentioning to hyper meditations, and these go much deeper than calming the mind. It's very different than meditations. It's like a reprogramming session, and we always have like the 10-day hyper meditations coming up. Our current one is the XI Code to Abundance, um, which is really fantastic. So you can access that. Sometimes we do it live, like it's live, but then it's recorded for you. We do events. We've got the Crystal Skull event coming up, which is really cool. And Jeremy, you might actually get into that space. We're gonna be going down to Arkansas, and we're gonna go into this cave with all the crystals and the guy. He's got the Mitchell Hedges skull, so the actual person that's got the Mitchell Hedges skull has been verified, and there's supposed to be 13 skulls, and he's got one of them. So, and I've tapped into this, the skull before with amazing like, it, and that skull is, I would say, it's a time capsule. It's got amazing intelligence, and we're going to be tapping into that, and bringing in that timeless intelligence into this reality to help us say evolve to our higher or best self.
That's a lot, and I really want to get into more of what this is about. And so, thanks
Mhm.
for introducing yourself because we have so much to talk about this evening. I'm going to introduce myself.
Absolutely.
My name is Jeremy Van Word. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in California, and I've been licensed and doing this work for around about 20 years. And it was about 10 years ago that I had my own awakening through my first psychedelic experience. And it was such a profound awakening for me in a safe environment that I realized that much of my clinical knowledge, the way that I worked with people, the way that I thought about psychology and spirituality is something that I had to call into question in a very serious and profound way, not only in myself, but in the way that I work with people. It changed the philosophy that I was running with. So there's a lot of these very strong philosophies and
Mhm.
ways of working with people like trauma focused CBT and EMDR and these other really wonderful ways that psychology has devised to work with people. But in a way, when you are able to access other consciousnesses, which was not an easy thing for me to do because I've got ADHD, and we're going to get into that. And I have always had a difficult time with the ability to meditate, to focus my mind, to focus
Mhm.
my energy, and to have a psychedelic experience that helped me focus in, to reach my spirit, to see what my value actually was. I came out of my first psychedelic experience going, "Oh my gosh, I don't know anything." And I had been doing licensed work for about 10 years, and so I had to check into what on earth had just happened to me and my
Mhm.
spirit, and then figure out how to ethically incorporate this kind of work into the clinical work that I do. And that is its own very interesting and difficult road to travel because of the laws that there are with regard to these substances. And so, right now, what I offer is not only very intensive coaching that is considered transpersonal for ADHD piece. And what transpersonal means is the mixture of science and spirituality to work with people who have ADHD and to help people transcend their spirit. But also, I do work with psychedelic medicine, and I have a ketamine retreat coming up on the first weekend of October in Tahoe, California. And if anybody would like to get involved and understand more about what it is that I do and how I preside over sacred medicine of this way, there's going to be a link in the comments that and the description of this live that you can go to and see more about me and my philosophy and what it is that I do. Moss, I became acquainted with you somewhere around 5 years ago, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I've begun working with you very intensely. And
Yeah.
I want to get into some of the ways in which your work has helped me transcend myself, because I think it's a good test case for
Yeah.
what you do and how it actually helps
Yeah. Oh,
people.
your internet
Place
kind
now.
of
My gosh,
stopped.
and people from all different things.
Okay.
Uh,
Your
and
internet kind of broke, but go
oh,
ahead.
okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, thank you. So the work that you've done with me and
Mhm.
my ADHD and my spirit and my space has been really transformative for me to be able to focus in more.
Yes.
Can you talk about, because I have had a strong awakening that has separated me from the version of me that existed 5 to 10 years ago,
Yeah.
separated me from a lot of those things, and we'll get into that.
Mhm.
Can you talk about the work that you've done with me and
Mhm.
the way in which your work has shifted what you see in me?
Yes, absolutely. So for you, Jeremy, again, ADHD. I do a lot of work with military individuals as well. With PTSD, ADHD, and the trauma from war. I work with them, especially with like ketamine or DMT and all that. But what I've found out is that sure, a psychedelic experience can open you up, but then nobody knows how to say go through that journey. There's no, because it's a whole different world out there. It's a whole different territory that we're still starting to understand. So what I do is like, okay, you've had that psychedelic experience, and no matter how old it is, I can always bring that in. So for you, Jeremy, that psychedelic experience was like a near death. For me, I've actually had a physical near death, which is, say, the most ultimate psychedelic experience you could have, right? Because it's basically getting into an altered state of yourself. That's what it's all about. So, what I've
Yes.
learned to do over time is literally get people into those altered states. So, and it's like, what does altered state mean? Well, you're in a state already, where you're broken or you have ADHD or, whatever it is that you're struggling with. So when Jeremy started working with me, I go, oh, okay, Jeremy is in this environment or in this dimension of time where he has ADHD. There's another version out there, and by the way, this is all like quantum based, and there's a lot of work on that, work done on this. But it's like, oh, there's another dimension of time and space that Jeremy does not have ADHD. Um, there's another dimension that Jeremy understands, say, counseling even better. So what I do is I don't teach you another modality. I just make the person a better version of who they are, the most pure version of who they are, outside of like hereditary patterns, genetic patterns, outside of generational patterns, societal patterns. You remove all that, and then you get to find out who Jeremy is, right? And that's what I basically did for you. I didn't like teach you another modality, but I just made the Jeremy that was supposed to be here. And from that, well, I would say that you really don't suffer from ADHD anymore.
No, not in the way that I did. And the comments that are coming in, I'm splitting, listening to you, and the comments that are coming in are really amazing. One says experiencing the Mitchell Hedges skull, and Scully, the skull moss has. I experienced them from 6 years ago with Masati. Uh, uh, and it was a profound experience, probably like your psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
Um, and the way in which that there has been awakening for me, and I'm just using this word awakening.
Mhm.
Um, I I have come in touch with things that I was never able to see before, and I'm kind
Mhm.
of experiencing these things even as I work with people, and I'm surprising myself in my counseling and coaching and
Mhm.
psychedelic integration work with people,
Yeah.
where I'm kind of pulling information out of somewhere, and I know about these people. I just recently was working with somebody who had a number of trauma issues, and I
Mhm.
said, "What's going on with your left foot?" And this person had a major injury to their left foot in a way that it completely changed their lives. I had no way of knowing that, but it was such a
Mhm.
specific thing. I've never been able to do that before. Some people can naturally do that. I'm having these abilities begin to come to me
Yes.
through not only the psychedelic and shamanic work that I've been engaged in, but also the work that you've been doing with me.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm seeing things in people. I have this ability to focus.
Yes. So, with that, um, is like, yes, the psychedelic experience, do help you. But so the way XI works is like it creates a strong substructure of who you are. Again, it purifies, whatever you've gone through. And then when you do a psychedelic journey, it also sets you up where you can understand more of who you are. Because, Jeremy, a lot of people do psychedelic journeys. I know people who've done like 100 ayahuasca journeys,
Yeah.
and they just repeat the same pattern. But when you start to clarify who you are as a being, and then you take ayahuasca, for example, or you take DMT, for example, the it, it's not just a plant, that dulls the mind. It's an intelligence that you're tapping into. And I don't know if you know this about DMT. I'll talk about it, but in a second. But so when you get into DMT states with XI or ayahuasca or whatever that you do ayahuasca, right? Or no, psilocybin. Both. Okay.
Yes, yes, and yes.
So both. So what happens there, Jeremy, is that that intelligence, ayahuasca again does have an intelligence, and it looks at you as like, oh, I get it. They're clear. Let's put them into this dimension. If you come in there and you're damaged and so on like that, it's like, oh, I see where they are. Let's put them in this dimension. So you don't get, say, the benefits of where you're going. So with XI, it literally accelerates you and puts you into the right dimension so you can go to the next level. Now, in the DMT realm, which is really cool, that has a different intelligence. And it's in what I'm talking about, really backs this up. So now they found out that if you take DMT just for recreation or just for a good time or anything like that, in a very short period of time, the DMT, say, intelligence basically shuts you out. So no matter how much DMT you take, you have no effect. And basically, they get into these states and they literally go, "You're not supposed to be here. Don't do DMT." I don't know if you've heard those studies, but we're getting more into like, where is that intelligence? So what XI does, and what you do even further, is like, let's prepare you so when you're in that intelligence, they take you seriously. So, and it's not an escape anymore. It's an evolution of who you are. Most people use it to escape who they are.
Yeah, I completely agree with you in that. And the ethical way of doing any of these medicines is the
Absolutely.
prep, the goal setting, the intention setting, the insurance that you're in the proper set and setting with people that have the right kind of energy
Mhm.
around you, and
Yes,
being incredibly safe, and so that you're not opening yourself up to things that you don't really need to be having inside of you.
that's
And
another thing.
the Yes, indeed. And
See a lot
when
of
you
that.
come back doing the right, I'm sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I see a lot of, and that's what I was talking about. People do these psychedelic experiences, and then they go into dimensions, and they bring back frequencies or other beings or whatever, whatever they want to call it. It just, but basically overall is like they come back and they're disoriented from those states.
Yes.
Yes. So
Y-
that's
You
what
know,
you and I, actually do together, is literally make people coherent. So when you go out and visit those different realms, you don't come back with sticky stuff. Let's just call it sticky stuff. So,
yes. Yeah. And so the person who either has the XI experience, the psychedelic experience, or
mhm.
the both of those experience,
Yeah.
you're beginning an awakening. And as a civilization right now, there is a substantial awakening that's occurring. And when
Mhm.
I say that, I'm not only talking about the work that you do and some of the work that I do, but
Mhm.
also we're coming to have kind of the scales fall from our eyes, those of us who are really paying attention,
True.
and this spiritual awakening, this understanding of frequencies awakening
Mhm.
that's happening,
Yeah.
when you go through that kind
Yeah.
of change in your life, you change. And you
Yes.
become a version of yourself that many of the people, your friends and family, may not relate to the same way.
True.
And it can be confusing. It
Yes.
can be, you can feel yourself, and I've had this happen in my life where over the last particularly 3.5 years,
Mhm.
the work that I have done,
Mhm.
I have left many friendships.
Yeah.
And I think that that has been maybe mistaken for some kind of arrogance on my behalf. I just don't feel myself vibing at the same level
Yeah.
with some people in old
Mhm.
relationships anymore.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the path of awakening and what happens in a person and how to do it ethically and safely?
Yeah. So awakening can have many different meanings. Most of them, through spiritual texts, history, and so on like that. It's more of awakening of the mind or understanding the mind, but they don't change the being. They don't change the internal core. They literally change, say, the mental attitude or aptitude. You gain more wisdom, so to speak, here. So true awakening is really a connection to your higher self. So just think of it as signal strength. True awakening is like, how strong is your signal strength compared to, compared to the higher intelligence that renders you here. And just to define that, what is higher intelligence? Well, the intelligence that was there that rendered you before you had a brain, before you were a single cell, right? There was an intelligence there that, say again, created you before you had anything. So that's the intelligence that you want to connect with. But over time, over genetic patterning, societal patterning, so on like that, your signal strength gets weaker and weaker, and then you're on your own. And that's where life becomes hard for people. No matter how successful you get, no matter how religious or spiritual you get, if you don't have that, say, connection, that strong connection to that intelligence, your life, it won't feel good no matter what you have. So true awakening is, again, getting closer and closer to the intelligence that rendered you here. And this goes, I'm not talking about God or anything like that, but there is an intelligence that rendered you here, that had that blueprint. So once you get closer and closer, your signal strength goes up, and then you start to understand who you are. You start to remember the original form of who you are before, say, society gave you a definition of who you are. That's true awakening. And as you do that, your frequency changes. Not your auras or anything. I mean, that's downstream. But I'm talking about your inception frequencies. Inception frequency, everybody talks about, well, frequencies. But then nobody talks about, well, where do these frequencies originate from? What's the intelligence that creates these frequencies, right? So that's what XI is about. So true awakening, again, is like going to the core and understanding what is the intelligence that renders you. So as your frequency changes, and this is where many people, and this is where we go, they're not the right vibe, and this is where you have issues with friends, because some friends, by the way, will come with you like they have, and because they want to go higher into a frequency. Some people go, nope, I'm just going to stay here. I don't know what the hell is wrong with Jeremy. You might be egotistical. They put all these labels on it, but it's not about that. It's just that you don't resonate anymore. Because again, you're at very different levels, which is okay. It's called evolution. Simple. But the thing is that those people who evolve, just note that the friends that you're leaving behind is who you were, by the way, or a remnant of who you were. So just honor them. You don't have to despise them or anything. Just honor them and go, yep, that's who I was. Now I'm at a higher frequency. Simple. That's how evolution works, Jeremy. You got to leave things behind. Whether it's your friends, whether it's your ideas, whether it's your belief systems, whether it's your diseases, whether it's how you think of success or anything like that. If it's not working for you, you got to leave it behind. That's all it is. Simply put.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, you're getting a ton of love in the comments
Oh, thanks.
right now. Lots of people saying hello from all over the world, talking about the way in which that you have affected their lives. Jeremy Van Wert, stuck in my patterns and looping through stuff I was able to easily let go of.
Yeah.
Hannah, I have to tell you, it was easier than I thought it would be to let go of old things.
Mhm.
I believe that I held on to things in my life for way too long. And then when I began to evolve, to kind of open up and to move up,
Mhm.
it was just simply like walking from one forest to one. I didn't really feel like I needed to move all the trees along with me.
Exactly.
Whoever wanted to come with me,
Mhm.
they were welcome to. But exactly what you're saying, Moss.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what you're saying, Jeremy. And this is where people go, I need to exercise, I need to eat right, I need to force myself to do this. That's like mental training. I gotta do my gladiator routine in the morning so I can be that top CEO. But that's not who you are. It's you're performing. And that's where we break down. We get multiple identities and all that, because it's like, oh, I'm a CEO. Oh, I got to perform this way. Oh, I'm a husband or a wife. Oh, I got to perform this way. And then you lose your identity. Like, no offense, like you were, buddy, right? Oh, I'm this counselor. Oh, I'm, this top CEO. But then it allows you to burn out. And that's what was happening before. And what I love what you said is like, well, Jeremy optimizes himself and then he expands into becoming a great counselor. And when you start to love yourself, again, that connection between you and your higher self, when you start to love yourself at such a deep level, Jeremy, being good to yourself, eating right, exercising, or doing whatever it takes to take care of the form that you've created comes easy. There's no force. It's just like you do it just because you love yourself. And it's not because you're forcing to love you just love yourself. And things change like that.
You know, the evolution, and I'm speaking from the perspective that I think that a lot of people can really relate to here. The evolution that I've gone through is when you've got ADHD,
Yes.
failure is amplified, rejection is devastating. It is a frequency pattern that is often based on childhood trauma and
Mhm.
these kinds of things. And you and I have talked at length about this sort of thing,
Mhm.
which then makes the adult ADHD person into somebody who has a very difficult time seeing the whole value of
Exactly.
themselves. And I'm 49 years old. And for much of my adult life, I have struggled to see my own value. And it didn't matter
Mhm.
how many master's degrees I got, how many certifications I got. I'm like, okay, well, maybe after the next certification is when I'll be ready to be big time.
Exactly.
Right. And then you get that and you go, well, that's not enough. I need more. And the
Mhm.
way that I've been living, particularly over the last year, and you and I have been doing a lot of intensive work over the last
Mhm.
year, is I
Yeah.
am there. Here I am. I have what I need. I have
Yes.
done the work, and I am the next 7 levels of myself.
Yes.
And that grounding
Mhm.
is a completely different me
Yes.
than the me that has existed throughout my adult life for a very long period of time and could never really admit that like this. I kind of had to get
Mhm.
here in order to go, yeah, that old version of me was kind of lame.
Mhm.
But the version of me now, it is very much the case that
Yes.
you envision yourself, you put yourself in that frequency and you go, no, I am there. I am the
Yeah.
abundance. I am the this and
Yeah.
that. And then there you are. But it's very difficult when everything in your life has been, I'm too small, I'm not big enough, people don't
Mhm.
like me, I get rejected.
Yep.
And,
Um,
and I'm going to let you respond to that. Jeremy, I am 50 years old, and doctors have told me my body is as if I'm 35 years old. Yes, that's very
that's
common
another
with
thing of
XI.
Yeah, that's another thing with XI. So what you're talking about, let's get into the science, is that
Yes.
what most people do, Jeremy, even with therapy and so on, and that's why just reading you, your therapy sessions are so much more powerful now because you're going deeper, not just a mental space. I don't know how to describe that, but many people go through, whether they're surgeons, therapists, psychologists, we train all them. And again, I don't teach them another modality, but I teach them to be a better version of themselves. And as they do that, they see more into their clients, the depth of, say, what the problem is. And that's where you get better results. But what you were talking about is that most people, they drag that hurt 8-year-old, that 9-year-old, they drag it into the older versions of themselves. They just keep dragging. So, you're a 40-year-old sitting in a meeting, but it's not the 40-year-old talking. If you have issues with trust or something, it was that 8-year-old that got distorted or just destroyed because he couldn't trust anybody. And that's that 8-year-old that's talking in the meeting. So what we do and what I've done with you is like, okay, let's learn what happened from the trauma or whatever experience that you had, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Let's take the best out of that and move it forward into the next version. and then the next version, and the next version. And that's what the difference is. Again, it's not a mental change. It literally is. It, have you seen those comic books? You know, the flip pages. You know, back in the day, where
Yeah.
the guy change. You know, you draw a guy that's like this, and then the next page is like this, and the next page is like this, and you flip it, and the guy waves at you or something. So basically,
Yes.
each page is a new version of you, and you can draw it a bit differently each page. And that's what we do at XI is like, hey, let's take the best of what happened in that moment and make it better and make it better and make it better. So those moments add up into hours, days, months, years, and we can compress, say again, a lot of transformation in a very short period of time, which goes into the genetics, which people go, well, I'm 35, and well, people mistake me as 35, although I'm 50, and all these like miraculous things, but they're not miracles. Conventional science just doesn't know the process yet. That's all. I was going to say, one more thing, buddy. I like how you called it evolution, because in today's world, most people are rebels. You don't want to be a rebel, and I'll tell you why. You know, it's people like the counterculture. You're against the system, you're against that. But according to physics, and I'm pronouncing this guy's name wrong. He's a physicist, Le Chatelier. So basically, what he was saying is like, if you're opposing a system, the more you push against the system, the stronger that system gets. Or, so, so does that make sense? How that works? The more you push
Oh,
against
yes.
the more you push against your old self, basically, for you to define who you are, you have to create more of your old self. This is where rags to riches, people who, it's amazing stories, but then they always have to feel poor to make more money. And I work with all these people, and this is what you're talking about, like these billionaires that go, Moss, if I make another 10 billion, then I'll be okay. And I'm going, probably not. It's not going to work out. Or like you were saying, if I just get that next degree, I'll be okay. If I get that next relation, you're not, because you're comparing yourself to what you want to get away from. So in XI, that's not an evolution, that's a revolution. And by the way, if you look at history, most people who have been rebels turn into dictators, and they turn into the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. Look at any
Mm-hmm.
country that was trying to be free, right? There was a rebel that came up. That rebel turned into the worst dictator. Look at any CEO, right? That it's like, yeah, we're against the system. They turned into, this is Silicon Valley. They were all against the system, right? And then they turned into, say, the most controlling
Oh,
corporations in the
yes.
world. So that's what I'm talking about. These are real realities, and most people turn into what they don't want to become. So in that reality, again, you don't want to you don't want to move away from who you are or what you don't want. You want to move toward, so you don't reference the past. So that's a whole new paradigm, and well, this is way you become a evolutionary. You go to the next level of who you are, and then the next level of who you are. Otherwise, you just start where you ended off, or you start where your parents ended off, and it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle.
This is my producer who threw this up here. Can you throw that back up there, Sergio? Jeremy, you've written about refusing the call in There Is More. What does it actually look like when someone gets the invitation to wake up and says no? That's a really good question.
Mhm.
Um, I I can answer it like this, and then I want to hear what you have to say,
Mhm.
Moss. I'm thinking of a particular client that I have that came to one of my psychedelic retreats, and this is a person who has struggled with self-value and so forth. Came and took a medicine that set her completely free.
Nice.
in this medicine to just watch her experience total bliss, to
Hmm.
lift out of the confines of her second guessing herself, of her people pleasing, of her trying to fit in and be okay, and to just simply be in a space where she is completely free to jump beyond her current consciousness and to
Yeah.
explore more of what there was out there for her, and
Yeah.
the incredible level of awakening that she experienced in that period of time that she was in the medicine. And I did all the integration and so forth with this person.
Hmm.
And then we're about a month out, and this person sat down with a psychologist and did a bunch of testing and came out with a diagnosis,
Hmm.
a psychiatric diagnosis that she wasn't expecting. And she was distressed a bit by this diagnosis because it didn't fit with what she felt about herself. Hi, Johanna. Um, and the this is that, and Johanna, we're going to get to you in just a second here.
Well,
Is you can hang out. It's cool. Is that I told her, look, a diagnosis is something that is part of the diagnostic and statistical manual that we use in order to bill insurance companies
Yeah.
and to assign medication. It's not something that defines who you are, that
True.
tells you exactly what it is. You don't fit in a box.
Right.
The beautiful thing about you is that you walk into a forest and there's a fir tree and there's a cedar and there's a sequoia and there's a sugar pine tree.
Hmm.
And you might be an evergreen like the rest of them, but you are individual, and it's that love for yourself and that integration of yourself that defines you, not a diagnosis because you kind of fit loosely in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of want to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, when you're describing, this client of yours that took that, Jeremy, what's happening there is, and I think you'll find more and more of this because other instructors do who, serve psychedelics, is that as you purify who you are, the facilitator, like, literally holds the space at a clear level. So you're going to get more and more awesome stories like that. And sure, it's the psychedelics, but it's actually you, Jeremy. It's your, say, frequency, the level that you're resonating at, that helps them go, oh shit, Jeremy remembers who he is. That means I can remember who I am. So, so this is where a ton of people, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. I don't claim to cure anybody, but I do claim to awaken the natural healing ability that people have inside themselves. And I
Yes.
I would dare say that I can do it much faster and easier than what most people can do. So, so anyway, so what you were describing, and we get a lot of clients, they've have, like the CEO, multi-billionaire, and he's like, hey, you've got 8 months to live because of a heart issue. And that was like 5 years ago, and he's still living and he's younger than ever. So yeah, that's statistically, the medical industry, it's like, sure, a lot of people have died. They've taken, say, that path, and people start to believe in it. But if you believe that there's another path for you, like you were talking about, it's like, no, I don't accept that. I want this path. And then you have not the mental fortitude, but the frequency, the essence of who you are, to go, what is it in me that forces me on this path? I don't want it anymore. And that's what you and I teach. And then you remove that, and they're like a whole different person. Their cancers disappear, or their PTSD or whatever it is, they just disappear, and they go, oh, I'm a different person. So saying
Yes.
no to the medical claims, again, it's a good starting point. Sure, you might have that disease, but the end result, one, I think it's crazy that the medical industry goes, oh, you've only got 8 months to live. How the hell do they know? It's not up to them. Maybe it's got accurate statistics, but even those statistics are not accurate. You know, so again, believe in who you are. Remember in who you are. You can do amazing things once you start to awaken. So say no to what's out there and say yes to your potential. Wow, we've got two lovely women here.
We got two lovely ladies here,
Hello.
and
No.
Hi.
Hi.
we're gonna and Johanna, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Great.
Mas, this is Johanna,
Mhm.
and I've invited Johanna and Misha
Yes.
onto the podcast for you to read and to work
Mhm.
with. And I
Sure.
figured that we would start with Johanna, and
Okay.
we've got plenty of time for you
Yeah.
to ask questions and work with both of them. And so I'm going to kind of leave you to it here
Okay.
to start working on Johanna.
Yeah. Johanna, I've never met you. I don't know if you know what I do or anything like that. But
No.
basically, so basically, what I do is literally read your, say, frequency signature and algorithm. So what that means is like, if you wrote a paragraph and you put it into AI, and they go, tell me about myself. Outside of what you wrote in that paragraph, that AI would be very specific on, say, your personality traits and so on like that, by the algorithms, by, say, how you put your words together. It doesn't understand the words, but again, it's the algorithms. So I'm not like a psychic or anything like that. I read algorithms of who you are. I don't need to have a paragraph, sent by you. I don't need to know your like your real name or anything like that. So if you don't mind, I'll just, it's like, see, I'll tell you what I see, the frequency that creates you.
Sure.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
And by the way, what I see you're sending out, most people say, most people see it at a very subconscious level and they react to your frequencies. I see it at a conscious level. So just think of yourself as a tower that you're just sending out, like a radio tower, and you're just sending out who Johanna is. Okay.
Yeah.
And then people pick it up and they treat you in a certain way. And the reason why I'm saying this, Johanna, because you've changed or you've tried to change so many times, but then you wonder like why your relationships stay the same, why your situation stays the same. It's like, gosh, I've tried everything under the sun, but why do I still keep seeing the same results in my life? Does that
Okay.
make sense for
Yeah,
you?
of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's the main theme. You do fantastic work on the outside. You do extra work. You take extra care. You have, say, I would call it like a spiritual knowledge, but that spiritual knowledge comes from a fragmented, say, religious knowledge, from what I'm sensing. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it could be better. Okay. I never say it's wrong, but let's just clarify that. So again, so in your pattern, basically, no matter what I do, no matter how much I invest in, no matter how much I sacrifice, I still get the same results. That's your haunted pattern. So you can be like in a relationship. You've had three, 2.5 serious ones, relationships, from what I'm saying?
I'd say so. I've been in the same one for 16
Okay.
years now.
Yeah, I pick up like 2.5, three,
Mhm.
serious ones. The first two might have been like shorter, from what I'm seeing. But again, what you do is like you give of yourself in that relationship, but then expecting for something else, but then it doesn't change, and that's the key. It doesn't change. So in a way, you're kind of like stuck in a paradigm. If you want, I can help you release that because it's not a mental level. It's not what you're doing at a physical level that'll help you change. No matter what you think, you can't think your way out. Okay.
Right.
So close your eyes, take a breath in, and people, just listening in, whether it's live or this is a recording, they'll probably feel the frequencies as well. Also, is there heart issues in your family? It seems like there is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I see you, you're carrying the burdens of whoever has heart issues. It seems like a masculine frequency. I
Yes.
don't know if are they okay currently or are they
They've passed.
having they passed.
Yes.
Okay. How long ago did they pass, honey?
I'd say 2001. 2000.
Wow. Because Okay, here's the problem. Okay. Why am I seeing cardiovascular issues? It seems like they had major heart surgery or something like that as
Mhm.
well. Why am I seeing that in you? And I know it's not you, but
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Um,
yeah.
it's
So,
it's kind of like my father died at 48
okay.
because of cardiovascular issues.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just kind of waiting for that age. Like I feel like that age is like a ceiling for me, perhaps. It's like I'm almost like expecting that.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was getting to, Sudi.
Yeah.
And again, not a doctor, but when you see your dad die at 48, you're really close to him, so to
Mhm.
speak, or you support him not to die. And this is your relationships with men. You literally support their problems, but their problems don't get any better.
Mm.
That makes sense for you? Because again, a lovely woman, you're supporting that person, but you're just supporting an extension of their problems. You just make them feel better, but you don't eliminate the problem.
Mm.
Okay? So again, can we change that a bit as well, if that's okay for you?
I'll,
So
I'll
basic, okay. So basically, what that means for you is like you'll see, say, that man have a problem, and you'll help them, say, fix and resolve the problem, rather than go, "I'll support you," and you continue on with your problems.
yeah.
Get it?
Mm.
So if you dated like an alcoholic type, for example, or
Right.
somebody that's addicted, I kind of see that pattern. I don't know who that is around you as well. You're basically supporting that person to be an alcoholic because it's like, well, Johanna's going to do that for me. I can just run the pattern that I do. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So in this
Mm.
case, it's like, wait a second. I love you. I'll take care of you, but this is what you have to do. So, and you don't have to say anything mentally, but frequency wise, you're not perpetuating a pattern.
I feel like I'm doing that for myself as well.
Yes. Yeah. As you do for yourself, you do for others. You're absolutely right. So let's eliminate that pattern. So you can be, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You've done a hell of a lot of work on yourself for yourself, but then it's like, so you're perpetuating that pattern. And then, yeah, we can go deeper into that. But take a breath in. So just notice your heart. It's like, I don't know. They might have had like major surgery, where they just cut your chest open and just that's what
Right.
I think. But I see that in you, sweetie.
Yeah.
And this is where doctors or scientists will go, well, Johanna's gonna have heart surgery or heart issues by the time she's 48, and it's just genetics.
Right.
I say no. I say it's a choice.
Okay.
I help you awaken to go, yeah, that was my father's heart issues. How do I grow differently? How do I age differently? I
Right.
don't need that disease.
Right.
Does that make sense? Is that okay to just have him? And he seems, no, he seems really fresh, like he died like less than a year ago with to me.
I mean, that's just how it feels like to me.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you know why?
Ah,
Can I
it's
explain
devastating.
death for you?
It's just devastating losing him. Everything just
Of
fell
course.
apart. It's very, very
Yeah.
terrible.
I totally understand him. But can I explain the science on why he feels like it just happened yesterday?
Sure.
Because that's just perpetuates.
Let's
And
do it.
then let's see if we can do something about that as
Okay.
well. Is that okay? All right.
Mhm.
And the reason why, if I ask, okay, because it's free will, you have a choice, and I'll talk to both of you about that. So, so the reason why it's there, or it's just like it happened yesterday, because he never, his intelligence didn't say leave this plane. His body did. He just moved over into the realm, kind of like a dream state. So this is zero level, like reality. This is where density happens. This is where you experience things. This is where you render your body. The next level is level one, and you can do everything, but you don't have a body. So he's just stuck in that next realm, and he's very close to you, and he's harnessing your energy, and that's why you feel him. Okay. So in, say, standard terms, basically his presence or his spirit never left this world. He's kind of stuck, and he's well, do you mind if I connect with him?
That would be great. That's actually a fear I've always had. I've always wondered if I was keeping him here or not, but then I didn't know if that was possible.
It's not necessarily you,
Yeah.
but it's his choice as well. So between the both of you, you know, it's like that. So he doesn't know where to go. It seems, yeah. So just give me a second. So he seems like he kind of believed in religion, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of skeptical about it. So so religion didn't really work for him. Oh, he's saying his grandfather was kind of abusive to him. I don't know why that shows up, but oh, his whole life basically he was running away from the identity of not being whatever his grandfather wanted to be.
Oh.
So basically his whole life was about running away. If that makes sense for you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Or trying to be somebody, if that makes sense. I'm not that person. I am this person. And that's what he's telling me. Breathe in. So can we say awaken that intelligence so he understands that he doesn't need to hang around here. And then it doesn't mean that you never see him or you never experience him, but he's not hanging out this close. He goes into higher realms. He's asking for it's like, wait a second, I'm too young to die type feel. It's like, I need to go back in. So that's why he's sticking around, by the way. He doesn't think he's dead, really. It's like, oh, it's like, you're a little gone.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So take a breath in. So just, again, notice this line that goes kind of down. So let's help him say crossover properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. There we go. Good. And I don't know if you felt that, but I think you did. I don't know if you felt something. Did you feel a relief or a release off your chest?
Perhaps slightly, but my heart's also been racing, so it's hard to.
Okay. Well, yeah, your heart's racing because your real self is coming in, which is really nice. So, there we go. Actually, what is it, Misha? You sense things, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, you sense things. So, you actually sense what I'm doing, if that makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you saw the release. Yeah. So, which is kind of cool. There we go. So, all right. So, okay. So think of it this way. Close your eyes, Johan. Okay. So there's an identity, basically called Johan. And obviously that's, a mixture of mom, dad, and all these, all these societal patterns and so on. And then there's an overlap of another identity. That was your father. And that's what I was seeing. I was like seeing two identities overlapped. Okay. So what I helped you do, again, I did it with you, not for you. What I helped you do is like, oh, this person shouldn't be around me. So they start to leave. And that's what that disconnect was. This also will help you with relationship patterns, hon, because over time, that man, especially man in your life, or the masculine frequency, even if it's a woman, that masculine frequency starts to embed themselves in you. And this is where sometimes you feel suffocated. And it's usually in the heart space for you. So that can be released for you as well. Do you have any questions?
I'm just here. Yeah. Well.
If you have any questions, you can ask me anything you need to.
Can I keep asking real quick about Dad? Is he able to go?
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to
You,
do? Is there any? I'll do anything.
Well, I can help you communicate. Actually, I can help you I know it's kind of like mind-boggling on what really happens out there. I can help you. I can have them send you a confirmation. Is that okay?
That would be
That what we did here is real. He's in a good place. You'll actually feel, say, the healing of the space, and you'll start to go, yeah, you know what? I don't need to, have the same issues as my dad when I turned 48. How old are you now? Can I ask, if you don't
I'll
mind me
be
asking?
35 in a couple months.
35? Oh, got a long time. So yeah, I would say in a couple days, you go, yeah, I don't need that. And you'll also, by the way, you'll start to see your habits and belief systems and go, oh, that's my mom. Oh, that's my aunt. I think there's an aunt integrated with you as well.
Very much. Yeah.
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 So that's another thing. Your aunt feels masculine to
Jeremy's
me.
laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. Your aunt feels literally masculine and she's wrapping around you because she feels insecure.
Oh God, that could even be my mom.
Yeah,
My
there's just
mom.
one more person too.
Yeah.
So, and they both run a masculine frequency. So, can we stop that from happening as well?
Yeah. I
If
mean,
that's okay. All right.
oh,
So in that case, you'll start to go, oh, I'm just like my mom in certain ways, and go, and then what you have to do, Johanna, is literally ask yourself. It's like, oh, do I want to run this pattern, or can I run a better pattern? And if you don't like that pattern, go, hey, I want a better pattern. I don't want to age like my mom. I don't want to have those issues like my mom or dad or anybody else. So literally, visually, I can't do that for you because it's against free will. So when it shows up, you'll have to go, oh yeah, that's what's showing up. I choose not to run that pattern. What is a better pattern that I can run? And then you'll start to say, again, disconnect and move away from, again, those distortions. Breathe in again, just one last thing. So for your dad, he's showing me like, I don't know, a necklace or something. I don't know if that means anything to you. Yeah. Yeah. So a necklace, and okay. Oh, he wants to give you a necklace.
I'll take it.
Yes. All right. So obviously he's not going to come through and give you a necklace, because that defies, realities. But what will happen is somebody will give you a necklace for some strange reason, or you'll find a necklace, whatever it is. But when you see it, it's like, whoa, you'll feel the presence of your dad giving it to you. But that's from him. Okay? That okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's smiling, which is nice. Oh, one last thing. Let's see. Alcoholism type patterns. What is that about?
I'm really not sure.
It's not your dad. He had
Well, I'm sorry, what?
It seems like he had a friend or a brother or somebody that died of alcoholism. Something to that effect.
Shit.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Honestly, I don't exactly know.
Okay.
There is alcohol on my mom's side or my aunt's side. I mean,
okay.
They make wine on my aunt's side. They're quite the winos.
Okay. So got it. Okay. So that alcohol, and I might get the relationships wrong.
Okay.
But I think he actually did see somebody die because of alcoholism. So your dad wants me to send that person over as well. So whoever died of alcoholism, whether it's on your mom's side or dad's side,
yeah,
they didn't cross over either.
Oh, okay.
So let's clean that up for you.
Yeah, who are they?
That's okay?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. How are you feeling right now?
Great. I just want to know who everyone is and make sure I can recognize them or something. I don't know if they know.
You will. The conversations will come up.
Okay.
By the way.
Okay.
Or your mom will talk about whoever died of alcoholism. So whenever she talks about that, it's like, oh, because the realities change and then it ripples in say your mom's memories, and it's like, So when she starts randomly talking something about whoever died that way, it's like,
Okay.
oh, that's that person. Because
Okay.
I'm not a psychic. I don't pick up names or anything like that. I
Yeah.
pick up frequencies. So
Okay.
yeah, I think we're good. That would be like decades, and even with decades worth of therapy, honey, I don't think you'd have gotten that level of depth and transformation. So
It's always been my biggest struggle. So
yeah, so you'll see your life change, transform. When you see your life change, Sweetie, just go, yep, I want more of that new stuff. I can't do that for you again. So you have to choose. You'll see, do I run my old pattern? Do I run my new pattern? And that's for you as well, Michelle. So, so when you do that, again, choose the new identity of who you are. No matter, no matter what it is, no matter how comfortable the old identity is, it's not going to get you anywhere new. Okay. Good. We're good. Anything else?
Number one, I'm sorry I interrupted. Go,
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead, Moss and Johanna.
I'm good. As long as
Okay.
Johanna's good.
I'm good if things aren't coming up. If
Yeah.
things are still coming up, then we got to deal with it.
Well, things
And
will come up for
you're
you
get
as you go to the next level, but you know that's a different session.
I see.
It's just the beginning. So
and Johanna, you're getting a lot of love in the comments. People saying beautiful release, Johanna. A vibrancy comes through in your eyes now. Lots of hearts, lots of really cool stuff. And I want everybody to know that both Johanna and Misha had not heard before. I asked them to be a part of this just a few days ago, and so they're coming in cold, not knowing what to expect, and not being familiar with the work. And so the level of courage that
yeah,
sort of thing takes to come in, be a part of a live podcast, and to be this vulnerable, it takes guts, it takes
yeah,
strength, it takes a lot of courage. So Johanna, thank you for being a part of this, and Misha, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up for you too.
yeah. Hey, Misha, how are you?
Hi there. Hello. Fine.
Good. You know, Jeremy, you before we get into Misha here, you kind of remind me of those individuals who start to understand my gifts, and they're like CEOs and so on. It's like, and they really don't believe it. You know, they really don't believe it, and they think it's a psychic reading, and all this stuff, and they go, "Oh, go ahead, read me," just to test my abilities, and we're in a group of people, and he's this guy that has to be perfect, and I go, "Are you sure?" Because they don't comprehend the level of depth that I get into. And it's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm an open book." And I'm going, "Open book? Okay." And then I start reading them. I start telling them about their parents, how he grew up, and why he got successful and everything. And their jaws drop, and they go. And then you can see it's like, shit, this should have been private. It's like, I don't want to know all that stuff. Anyway, so that's what. So being here, the two of you, and just being open, which is fantastic. Obviously, I don't get too private in public forums like this, but we just get the general gist that'll help you and individuals. So, all right. So again, do you mind if I read you? And I stress that because in the spiritual circle, people go, "Oh, you have to ask permission and all that stuff," but you really don't. And that's something about you, Misha, that I just want to go deeper, because you have amazing abilities, but sometimes you're afraid of them. So,
Yes.
especially when you read people and you go, "I don't want to know that about them." Okay, it's not your problem, and I'll tell you why. And this is with the radio receiver. They're broadcasting a signal. They're simply just broadcasting a signal. You're just picking up on their signal. So if they don't want you to know something about you, stop broadcasting that signal. It's not even on a private channel. That makes sense?
Yes.
In the spiritual world, people go, oh, you got to ask permission from their spirit and stuff. It's like, hell you do. It was like, why are you broadcasting that signal? So take a deep breath. I think that releases a lot from you right off the bat, because you see so many things in people, and then sometimes in your younger days, and if you want to tell me your age, I'm just more accurate, but if you don't, that's fine. It's
I'm
all.
I'm 55.
Oh, wow, a beautiful 55 at that. And I'll tell you, and I'll explain why. You look more vibrant and youthful. Yeah, something happened to you at, I want to say 43 or 44, but we'll get into that, okay? If you don't mind. But the biggest deal is that you have such amazing abilities, and I'll see where they come from in your family lineage, because abilities like yours work through the family. It's not just like you got them. All right. But the problem with you, again, is that you try to keep shutting it down so you can stay sane, so to speak. Yeah, because it's way too much information for you. So much information that sometimes people are speaking and their frequencies are louder than what they're telling you verbally. And people go, Misha, are you listening to me? And it's like, oh, hell, I'm listening to you, but this thing is louder than the physical version of yourself. Got it?
Yeah.
So let's help you edit that. I help a lot of people. We've got like Healing Mastery, people like you, who have amazing abilities, but they just don't know, say, how to go to the next level of, say, commanding those abilities. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your eyes, I can't quite see them. Your eyes don't feel like yours sometimes.
Yes.
So let's see, because that's why you're shutting things down. Wow, this is so cool. Around 12, 13, 14 years old, your abilities started to manifest or come through, if that makes sense to you. It's like something almost overtook you. Okay, that would be your great aunt. Yeah, your great aunt or great grandmother, something to that effect, a female frequency for you. Your eyes feel like her eyes. I don't know if you see pictures of yourself or pictures of your great grandma's younger version, or your
Yes.
aunt. Is it your grandmother or your aunt?
I would say it was my grandmother.
Okay. So your great aunt, her daughter, or her mother, either one, kind of feel the same to me as well. So that's why I can't differentiate the two of them. So your eyes, you got the beautiful eyes from your great grandmother, but then you also got the healing abilities of your great grandmother, and then all the pain and burdens of what she went through to achieve those healing abilities. See, and that's the problem with human evolution. We don't evolve, we just drag, our predecessors behind us. So the more you use your abilities, honey, the more Misha disappears, the more your aunt takes over.
Okay.
And I think you've been feeling that. That makes sense to you?
I've been trying to connect with, their spirit, and
Okay.
I've been trying to.
Well, it's working, but it's probably not the best outcome to try to connect like that. Because over time, literally what happens is your aunt's patterns, because she's at a higher level frequency because she's not here. So, since you're not here, even if you're a bad person, I'm not saying your aunt is, they're at a higher level frequency and they can take over you. Get it?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to connect, then your aunt is literally will take over you, and then you'll have the same diseases, you'll have the same issues, the same relationship patterns. Your life won't be yours because that's what you're experiencing. You experienced that at 12 or 13. It's like, shit, this isn't my life. And then you pushed it away, but obviously you can't push abilities like that away. And then by about 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, around 27, instead of pushing things away, you go, well, let me embrace it. Does that make sense for you? And then you reconnected to go, and this is where you're trying to reconnect. And then by about 43, it's like something happened to you again. I always want to say it's a near death for you, or a death of something or a person, or almost a near death of you. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but
I think.
did something like devastating happen to you? Could be euphoric as well, but it was kind of like an awakening, but through a release or a death for you.
I would, well, it was not the death of a person, it was the death of a marriage
That's what it is.
at 40.
Okay. Got it. So that's basically a death of you, because your identity died with that marriage. But honey, you're still stuck
Yes.
to that identity.
Yes, yes.
You know? And you're basically referencing, I am not that Misha to create this Misha. So although it's liberating sometimes, but then also you're bound to it. And this is what I was talking about. The more Misha grows into her, the more this identity of the opposite has to grow as well. And that's the same pattern with success. If you created success because you were poor, so to speak, get it? So close your eyes, take a breath in, just notice your lower ribs for you. Think of it this way. So say 3 units of Misha equals, of not being Misha equals 1 unit of being the real version of who you are. Okay. If you wanted to create, say, 3 versions of a clear version 3 times, right? The real version of Misha, this would have to elevate by 9 into 9 versions. So it gets better. I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. So this is where, people have massive amounts of success, but then they carry massive amounts of burden to fuel that new success, or for you to fuel that new identity. Okay? And there still seems to be a wound with you in that marriage as well. Okay, for some reason. Did you lose a kid as well, or something about a child? Did you lose a child, or did you want a child, or? Okay, so you didn't want a child.
No.
Okay, that's kind of like losing a child, frequency-wise. Did you not want that child, or did they not want that child? Because one, you'd make a great mom.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very motherly in a good way, not smotherly, but motherly, I would call it, which is really nice. But there's something about a loss of a kid. So maybe not being able to have kids, or just not wanting kids, but there was a possibility of you having a child, but not from the marriage. Maybe the previous relationship, from what I'm saying. I don't know if that makes sense for you. But yeah, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So again, that's kind of a loss for you. That kind of lingers. The possibilities, basically, possibilities that are supposed to release linger for you. They're still kind of like an open book. Okay. So, for example, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, at 17, you had a possibility or another path to choose, right? And then you didn't choose it. So,
Yeah.
But that path is still open, but it's long time. It was a long time ago. It was when you were 17.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? So,
Yeah.
so possibilities that need to get shut down still stay open for you. Like, for example, you got divorced, but then the possibility of continuing that marriage is still there. Does that make sense? And that's the burden that you're feeling. So no matter how much psychology work you do, or therapies or anything like that, it's a timeline issue. It's not a mental or physical issue. It's a timeline issue. What you do, honey, is you create a timeline, you choose this timeline, but then this, say, branch of it still exists, and basically Misha creates this version of herself as well. So close your eyes, take a breath in. Okay? Just imagine like you're 6, 7 years of age. There's a timeline that you could have gone towards, but then you took another timeline, but then that version of you became two versions of Misha. I don't know if you moved or whatever, something like that.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, okay, around that timeline.
Mhm.
So again, that version of staying in that house or that whatever neighborhood or place, this version, say, rendered itself, but this version continued on living in another dimension of self. And this is where you might feel run down sometimes, by the way, because it's like, just think how many versions or possibilities get fragmented, with each path. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
can we close those versions up, if that's okay for you?
Yes, please.
Holy shit. I see at least 50 possibilities that still exist and still are living in you. So that's a lot of energy
Yeah.
that you're just giving away to those people
Mm.
or those ideations of who you are. Like Misha with a child. Get it? That reality is still rendering itself. It's not a possibility, but it's still rendering itself. You're the battery for that. So can we shut those down for you?
Yes.
And I'll make it really simple for you. Close your eyes, take a breath in, hon. Yeah, about 40, 50 apps, literally. So imagine that you're a phone, okay? You've got, say, all these apps that are open that you never shut down, but you never use them.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? Close your eyes.
Yes. Okay.
Close your eyes, breathe in, okay? Just imagine that app, okay? And let's just see how well you go through this visual. Again, it's not about the visual, it's how it renders for you. It's more of a diagnostic tool for me on how, say, I'm helping you rewire yourself. All right, and breathe in. And this is, I'll do most of the work here because, again, we need higher level access for you because it's about time and space. Breathe in again, sorry, just notice your neck. All right. So you have these apps, and there's a lot of them running. You don't use them anymore because you can't use them anymore, but they're still running in the background. How many apps do you see? Is it quite a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say about
Quite a
50
lot.
is what I'm seeing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so take a breath in. So again, my abilities, I basically see what you're seeing. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's like plugging into your video of what you're seeing. All right, so you look at all those apps, let's delete them. And let's just bulk delete them if you don't mind. Okay, so at the top left, I think it is, just go select all.
Okay.
Is that okay for you?
Yes.
You don't need to know what those apps are about. Although with your abilities, later you'll go, oh, I deleted that app. So you'll know later, not because you need to, but it'll help you enhance your abilities properly. It'll help you see what I see. Okay, so breathe in. All right. So even if you don't use those apps, again, they run in the background and they take a lot of resources, just like a phone would. So you've checked them all and kind of scroll through and see if you like and you're okay with it, it feels good for you. Because once you delete them, it's really hard to bring them back. Not that you need to, but sometimes people are attached to things.
Mm-hmm.
And this also will change your ideas, your emotions, your logic systems, and all those things, because your current self is based on those open apps. So once we shut them off, you change literally almost immediately or soon after. Yeah, once you go to bed, you wake up, it's like, who the hell is Misha? I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay?
Yes.
You might not know who you are. So, which is a good thing. Right? This is like a clean slate for you. All right. All right, so you hit delete. Is that delete button clear for you? Does it come clear, or is it hard for you to visualize that delete?
No, I did it right away
Okay, damn, faster than I me.
because I'm ready. I'm
Yes,
ready.
you're ready. You've done this. You've searched for this delete button all your life. So you confirm the deletion, and I'll just help you out with a bit. And basically goes, are you sure you want to delete these apps? All memories, file systems, RAM, all those things are just deleted for you. So just at a heads up before you go, before you delete it, your memory will become fragmented because you can't access that file anymore. That okay for you?
Yes.
You might not remember what happened to you in childhood sometimes. It memory, because I'm not completely deleting them for you. I'm basically removing them from your living file folder and just storing them somewhere because you don't need those. It's kind of like, you're out of memory. Basically, that's who you are. You're out of memory. Let's put these files that you don't need over here on a cloud server, and then you can run more efficiently. Is that okay for you?
Yes.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice your hips. Seems like your great grandma had hip issues. So you don't need that. You don't need to look like her. Your body doesn't need to age like her. Let's just keep. Looks like you've got a great body. So let's just keep that body. So again, you don't need to age like an old person. Right? And I did that with you, Johanna, as well. So you don't need to age. You know how women lose their shape as they age?
Yeah.
You don't need that anymore. So.
Wait, I don't have to worry about that?
No, you have a choice. So just choose properly, like I said.
Okay.
Yeah. So breathe in again, Misha. Notice your hips, your bone structure.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So how does that phone feel for you?
I feel a huge release, a let go,
Yeah.
lighter.
Yeah, because those identities are still living in you. Your cells adapt to those identities. It's not a memory, it's an identity that you have. So your cells will start to adapt. Your body shape, again, will shift for you to be more efficient. You'll have more energy, more clarity. You sometimes, it's not that bad decisions. Sometimes you change decisions because you're running multiple versions of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that will change for you. A lot of things will change for you. Your sleep patterns will change for you. You might have real vivid dreams, by the way, and that's because you're going back in time and just cleaning more stuff up. So if you want to journal your dreams, which I would suggest you do,
Okay.
would be really nice because it gives you better access to your abilities. And let's make your abilities, not your grandma's abilities.
Okay.
So taking the best out of grandma, getting rid of whatever she went through. Yeah, and then, and again, you making it your abilities, your eyes. Is that okay for you?
Yes, very much.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this way you don't have to connect to a dead person because it's not a good idea. Anybody, any of you listening, it's not a good idea to channel a dead person, connect to a dead person. You can converse with them, but again, you don't want to merge with them, and that's what happens with most, say, spiritual teachings.
Okay.
So in this case, what I'm helping you is there was an intelligence that your grandma, say, connected to. Get it?
Yes.
So we remove your grandma, and I just help you connect to the intelligence. Just a straight connection. Nothing to do with me or grandma or anybody else. That's what you want. So the knowledge is yours now. Okay? You're not going through your grandma to connect to it. And it's really cool. It's really pure for you, and you'll see the difference. Also, I slowed down the information that comes in you, because right now when you meet somebody or you sense somebody, it's just like boom. It's just like a wave that hits you. So I slowed it down for you where you'll see it and you get a general vibe of it, like a overview, not their whole thesis, like which is 1,000 pages, that gets thrown at you. You just get a general vibe, like a 1 page, say, description of what they're like, rather than 10,000 pages.
Yeah.
Then I just assumed that was okay for you, but
Yes.
I assume that's okay for you. All right. Just one more thing. Breathe in again. I just got to clean up some stuff for you. Not a doctor or anything like that, but it just seems like you might have some yeast issues for you.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, yeast comes in different forms. Basically, you're a little sensitive to sugars.
Oh, definitely. I had to cut sugar out a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where yeast comes from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So they're not yeast in the normal areas, sweetie. They're yeast throughout your body. Because, sugars, especially and that's the problem with GMO sugars, is your body goes, okay, this is sweet, but I don't know what to do with this stuff. Because they change the chemical structure and your body just goes, I don't know what to do with it. And it just sits in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take a yeast cleanse or whatever that involves. I don't know about that stuff, but that'll help your body get rid of, sometimes you're sensitive to certain sugars, so be aware of that. It makes your, what is it? You create too much cysteine, whatever. The antibody, when you react to something,
Mm-hmm.
When you're allergic, whatever that, it creates too much in your body. So I would take something like homocysteine and those things for you to help you. Okay. Again, just do your own research on that. Yeah, I think we're good though. Anything you want to ask?
Actually, it's interesting that you hit upon what I was going to ask you is I feel like I've lost myself. I feel like I kind of don't know who I am, and you just hit it exactly. Yeah. That was going to be my question of you is I feel just kind of like I'm trying to discover who I am as an individual. So been working really hard on that. So thank you.
You're so welcome. And now it'll come so easy for you, sweetie. It's like, oh, this is who Misha is. Oh, this is great. Yeah. So, it's like you wake up the next morning and it's like, wow, this is the real me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is beautiful. So, I love it.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, sweetie.
I have something to reveal to you that you didn't know coming into this. Misha is my sister.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I did not know that. Very different.
And I asked her. I asked Misha to of this. It was something that she had not seen any of the work that I've done with you or interviews with you before.
Mm-hmm.
And many of the things that you spoke about, I mean, I grew up alongside Misha, and you were talking about the various the timing for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
The level of specificity was absolutely tremendous. And you mentioning a great aunt that played a role in Misha's life. Yes, Dottie played a huge role in Misha's life growing up, and she and not everybody spends time with a great aunt, and you really did pick that out. And so these things that you're pointing out, I know that these are things that Misha's been working very hard on. And my familiarity with Johanna, a lot of the things that she's been talking about and working on are also things that are very much the things that you mentioned. And I'm a therapist and a coach and a psychedelic guide, and there's one part of understanding what's going on an intellectual level, on an insight-based level.
Mhm.
And insight is not transformation, it's understanding, and that's
Yeah.
really important. But the way that your work differs from mine, I build insight. I help one understand themselves. I
Yes.
help people gather the tools to love themselves, to access other
Hmm.
consciousness in a safe way, to integrate that.
Yes.
You go directly into
Yeah.
the spiritual plane, the past lives, like these
Yeah.
different things. And go ahead. I can hear you kind of chomping at the bit
Oh,
there.
no, I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of people, and this is the relationship I love between you and I, Jeremy. I'm not a threat to you. A lot of times, I come in and people go, "Oh, he's going to take all over my clients. He's going to." It's like, no, it's like, a connection, and people need to understand that. Where I'm more like that surgeon. Let's just get rid of that stuff, and then whatever you do with your clients, for example, you'll just do it much easier and much faster, and they get better results. I don't take that part away, which is really cool. So it's a beautiful relationship that you and I have, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so too. And Johanna and Misha, thank you so much for being willing to be a part of this evening's podcast. And thanks for being so vulnerable and so willing. And I want to kind of kick it over to either of you for any like final words or ideas or questions. Johanna, where do you start?
I feel like I need a whole nother 8 hours here.
Uh,
You're just talking about so many.
oh, that's so sweet.
I'm really surprised that you caught on to the heart issues and the masculine thing hanging around, because it's always been very, very, very difficult for me to step out of grief.
Mhm.
Like, no matter how many times like you have an idea of what it means to move on, it doesn't actually happen.
Uh,
So I am wondering where I can go from here.
Mhm.
You also did mention just now with Misha getting in contact with people without letting it consume you, right?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have so many questions about so many things. Because I don't know.
Another podcast,
Yeah,
Jeremy.
that's really wonderful.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do a follow up, or we'll figure it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's
Mission
cool.
officer.
I'll keep my eyes out for things.
Yeah. But a lot of times though, the questions that you have will get answered by you,
Yeah.
which is more endearing than somebody else telling you the answer.
Yeah.
So you'll see that.
Thank you. I
You're so welcome.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And
Excellent.
for me, if
Misha
I
and Johanna, thank you so much for being a part of this. And go ahead, Misha.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I loved the visual of the apps being open because, like Jeremy, I also have ADHD. So I replay situations and things over and over and over, and I was kind of on a loop.
Yeah.
So that visualization of deleting all those open apps, that was just
Perfect.
so great for me because I'm visual,
Yeah.
and I just feel like, an ADHD brain is like boom, boom, oh, just always running on high speed, a 78. Everyone else
Yes.
is at a 45, and Jeremy
Yeah.
and I are at a 78. We're just like,
Yeah.
sometimes our conversations is hilarious because we can have 5 different conversations at the same time and we can track each other perfectly. We just know that that's what we were talking about 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just really glad that you cleared all that out because I need to just kind of bring it simplify.
Yeah. So with ADHD and all that, society calls it a disease, but you can use it as an advantage. I think
Yes,
back in the
you
day,
can.
you know, being hyper vigilant, being aware of all your reality at one time
Yes.
probably
Yes.
saved your family lineage. But over time, you don't need that. You know what I mean? You don't need to be aware of like 5 different conversations at one time. So, although you can. So later on, and Jeremy, this is what I'd like to connect with you. Later on, there's so many people who are ADHD and they're highly successful, but they burn themselves out. They've all scattered. So how do we bring that hypersensitivity into, say, focus? And that's what I want to start with you, where it's like, shit, let's use that power. It worked back in the day, but now it's a different environment, different generation. So let's use that ability, that ADHD or some of the other things that people suffer from, that was a gift back in the day. Now it's not as useful, so we have to say revamp that tool into today's world. I think it'd be a cool program.
Well, I think it's an absolutely critical thing to, particularly for the person who's neurodivergent, to really understand. We are living in a world right now that is made for the neurotypical person. And it is an educational system that is extremely linear. It prepares you for a corporate career, to be a 9 to 5 person. Our awareness doesn't work this way. We have an awareness that is on multiple different levels. We perceive things differently. We have a different sense of what is going on around us. And you were seeing those abilities in both Johanna and Misha. The abilities to see things on different planes, and in order for the ADHD person to really be able to use that, it has to be harnessed. And somebody in the chat was talking about the importance of spatial referencing, the importance of bringing that awareness into your body, and getting yourself so that you can both focus in and use that incredible level of pattern recognition, of awareness on different planes, and so that you can use this this space. And is my connection still good?
Yeah,
We can hear your voice, but your face is freezing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think it's coming back. I'm sorry. I'm in an RV park right now, broadcasting from a tent. So, and so the way that the ADHD person perceives of the world, it takes a lot of internal work to be able to push that into, I'm in my body, I'm connected with my root chakra, with my throat chakra, and I can speak from a space of groundedness, and I can see the patterns, and I can connect with all of the different abilities at the same time. Moss, is this something that's kind of resonating with you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I really teach, because this is there's such a level of disempowerment for people who don't perceive the world the same way that the neurotypical person does. We end up feeling less than, we end up feeling like weirdos, we end up feeling like we're not smart and everything like that. But we've got this incredible IQ that's up here, but our ability to follow through on things is diminished a little bit because we don't finish stuff. We start things and we don't finish because we're not spatially referenced. We're not inside of ourselves. And so, I know that there's a place where some of the work that you and I do kind of intersects a bit, because I know you have, a similar philosophy with regard to that kind of thing. And you've worked with me on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, like you were saying, Jeremy, people are basically feel like outcasts because they don't fit in a linear world, and the world basically tells you, from schooling and everything else, your parents, hey, you got to fit in this linear world. But it's like, why? It's okay to be an expansive being and have multiple, say, not identities, but have multiple possibilities available for you, but then live them one moment at a time. That's what linear time and space is about. But most people go, no, you just need to be in linear time, think linearly. Well, it really stunts the person who's highly intelligent, because when you start to follow that, you eliminate the intelligence that could be. You can't access that intelligence.
Johanna, you just beamed with that. There was just a recognition that you had in that. Is there something that kind of hit for you in that?
Um, I'm having a
Did I just put you on the spot?
it was a couple things, but honestly, I'm still having an interesting time trying to wrap my mind around the idea of linear versus, not linear, the quantum space.
Yeah, I think you'd really like a lot of the content I have on Substack. In fact, I'm going to be publishing something new on Substack on death, and it's an access code to life. I'll be doing that tomorrow, but it gets into the science on what I do. It's not woo or anything. It makes more logic for, again, highly intelligent people, because there's hardly any exceptions to the rule, if any, what I teach. What most science is about, there's always exceptions to the rule, which means I'm not disregarding that science, but that science, no matter what it is, whether it's psychology or anything else or AI, if there's exceptions to the rule, then you have to search higher. So what I do on Substack for you is like explain the science. So you go, oh shit, that makes sense. And then when you do that, whatever, say, how you wrap, say, the concepts around you will make it a lot easier for you to understand, say, linear time for you specifically. But yeah.
Thank you.
Annie in the chat said both my nieces are super smart but don't do well in school. And I really want to just simply say that measuring intelligence in a linear way is an incredibly difficult thing to do.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because there are so many. And when a young person is in an industrial education model and they're not being successful, in my opinion, it's very critical to do what is needed to change what kind of learning and environment that child is in, so that child can get the sense that they have the ability not only to learn but to be creative, to finish things, and that they have the ability to begin and to finish. Because when you do K through 12 and you don't fit in and you're distractible and you've got 32 kids in your class and you're doing the moonwalk all around the classroom the way I was in class, you get this sense that you're not bright, and that affects you, yes, for the rest of your life. And so, every single person is so different, and these skills that I teach, these skills that Amos, that you teach, it helps people really integrate. And what you were saying, Moss, when you were starting to work with me, is that you saw me as, I believe the word that you used is fragmented. My consciousness just like broken glass all over the place, and that you've worked to move me into being centered. And I can definitely feel that in the way that I'm working with people and in the space where I'm at right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how fast you can transform, because society thinks that it's going to take decades or years for you to shift, but you don't need that anymore. That's linear thinking. People people change so much, from one moment to the next, and it's not because they go through a linear process. So what we did for you, Johan, for you to understand, is like literally, I took you off the linear plane, put you up here, chose a different timeline for you, and then put you back down. In a nutshell. If that makes sense. So what you'll do is you'll operate differently in linear time and space. But you'll also have access, especially you, Misha, you'll have access to the higher levels of who you are, the different possibilities of who you are. And then like later on in the teachings, I can help you choose. It's like, well, I want this version of myself to play next. So you're talking about, records, right? So, the different versions, like, oh, I want this version. I want this version of myself to play next. And then you get to choose, the next version of yourself rather than being, automated, which is really cool. So,
Speaking of time, Johanna and Misha, thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us on this podcast. I know that the both of you are on a time schedule and so forth, so you can continue listening offline. But thank you so much for joining the podcast and being so brave.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
thank you so much.
Thanks for
Bye, guys.
Nice to meet you,
hosting.
Masati.
Yeah, I hope to speak again
Absolutely.
soon. I appreciate
Yes. You're so welcome.
it.
Okay, Moss, I've got a question for you,
Mhm.
and Sergio, can you help with Misha?
I can't see
My
where
question. You can't see what it. Oh yeah, there's a little button on the bottom called leave, or
Oh.
and then you should be able to
Okay,
select that.
I see it now. Thank you again.
Bye, honey.
All right, bye bye. Changing timelines,
Mhm.
changing realities.
Yeah.
This is something that I've done, and I don't know how I've done it. I don't understand how, and I'm wanting to do it again for a couple of different reasons. Changing the reality, changing the frequencies for myself of where I'm going,
Yes.
of abundance, of my business, and all of these different things. And the thing that I have struggled with,
Mhm.
what's the ABCD of how you consciously do it? I've done it and I don't know how. What is that?
Yeah.
What are it's the instruction manual on this?
It is. Well, right now, have to become automated. So basically, you're always choosing a better version of yourself as you go through. Okay. So that's on automation for you. Now you're getting to the point where you're starting to see how you choose your timeline or the process. So I can explain it to you, but you don't have to remember it. But um, what'll happen for you is that you'll start to become aware that so just imagine yourself on a road, Jeremy, okay? And then, you're going straight ahead, and then over to the right, there's another road, an access point that, hey, if you take this exit, you'll become a better version, or you'll get to where you want faster. So you'll start to see exit points in your timelines for you. And I can help you with that now if you want, and the people listening, if you want to do that.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yes.
So one is awareness, because you always need reference to adapt or change. So most people, what they do is the timeline that they chose was basically dictated by the four ingredients: their parents, their genetics, generational, societal patterns, and then their life cycle, and they carry that timeline till they die. So in XI, basically what we do is, like, you get choices, you get the off ramp to go, I want to be this version of Jeremy. And this goes back into Einstein, like, depending on where you are, allows, say, possibilities for you to step into the next moment, right? So you'll start to see multiple realities open for you, right? With the work that I'm doing, as I'm speaking with you, and just pay attention to your shoulders, left, right shoulder, by the way. That's how I'll anchor you. Okay. And I can't explain all the details because it's just, because I'd have to explain a lot of other stuff for you to understand it right now. But you'll get it because it's about a memory. It's not about me teaching you something new. You already know how to do this. So the intelligence will come for you. Anyway, so what you will experience though is that you're going forward, and then you'll have multiple, say, possibilities, and then you'll go, well, which one do I choose? And then you don't choose. Okay, and that's the key, because a choice is a mental state, and the mental process that most people go through are, the variables that you go through at a mental level are very limited compared to the possibilities at a higher level of who you are. Get it? Does that make sense for you? Right? What you know.
It does, yes.
Yeah. So when people choose goals, it's like, I want to go do this. They're choosing from the possibilities that they know of or they have experienced, which is very limiting. And that's where we repeat the pattern. In this case, for you, when you don't make that choice, that time gap has to be filled in. So the most important thing for you, especially being a bit ahead of time, where you get remnants of the jump pattern for Jeremy, or the ADD type pattern for Jeremy. So sit back and don't make a choice. But the time has to be closed off. So what happens is, when you don't make a choice, your higher self makes that choice for you. And it's always the optimal choice for you, because you're genetically engineered to always evolve. So you're starting to force the pattern of choosing your highest, say, version, and that'll become an automatic. So basically what you're doing is you're giving up free will. Okay? So free will is, you have that choice and then you go, I'll pick that one. But then later on you go, oh shit, that one wasn't the best choice for me. Get it? So in this case, again, and this is all you have to remember, take a breath in, notice the shoulders. Okay. So in this case, what happens is, you'll see the choice, you'll see the possibilities, you'll see how you'll get pulled into one choice or another. It doesn't mean that choice is good for you. And this is where I tell people not to trust their emotions or their logic, because their emotions or logic are based on previous programs. This is where people get stuck in, it's like, oh, I fell in love with this person, and, it made my heart beat, and I just got pulled into their eyes. And then like 6 months later, they're like getting beat up by this person, because they followed the wrong logic system. They followed the, say, the non-calibrated emotions. So at your level where you are, again, just observe, be the observer of the choices that you have, and ask why these choices are opening up for you. Okay? Because there is a reason. And then when you do that and you don't make the choice, the higher version makes the choice for you, and it always defaults to the highest version of who you could be for that moment. And then once you go, oh, now I see why my higher self made that choice. And then that's where you'll start to learn the logistics. Otherwise, it's just way too complicated, because it's not a mental issue. It goes way beyond the mind. I hope that made sense for you, because we're getting into the deeper, the concepts.
It does make sense, and it's I think it's a difficult thing to explain.
Yes.
Because I know that for me, I have a tendency to go to really try and control, to plan for, to prep for, to think of the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about is being open to many different possibilities and allowing for the highest of all possibilities to occur. Am I grasping that correctly?
Yes. And this is where, people who have like ADHD and so on like that, they not only just choose the possibilities, but they can go into other realms of even higher possibilities, better possibilities. And this is where you can, like, say, jump, not linearly, but jump, say, a couple possibilities ahead. So we can use that pattern, but not just yet. You have to learn how the process works first.
Yes. Yeah. This is a manner of thinking about moving forward that I think, you know, the exponential intelligence philosophy is one that I think is more relevant now than it has been in my entire life. Because what we're seeing is a world that is changing, and we're seeing those who are not changing with it. And these are friends and family and so forth. And those who can see major changes coming, and there can be some anxiety about it, worry about what it is that's going to happen.
Yes.
But I've heard you recently talking about the hope that there is and the
Hope.
positivity that there is in the changes that are coming, and that
Yes.
there's no real need for fear, for misgiving, for I'm talking about here, for a sense of anxiety or fear about what it is that is coming. There really is only, I mean, how would you explain it? Shifting into it, embracing what is coming, and moving with the highest of all frequencies going forward.
Yeah. Well, think of it as a ship, and the ship is human consciousness or the human mastermind, right? So that ship is, say, set on a course. Okay, that ship's set on a course, and it hasn't been the best course, by the way. Okay, and that course has been set by humans. So as consciousness changes, because what's happening is that our optimal, say, timeline is here. We're so far off the mark, by the way, that like higher consciousness or natural intelligence is pulling us back into, the higher potential of who we are. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but basically, if you look at anything, this reality works on equilibrium. Okay, Jeremy? Just physics, just math. This reality works on equilibrium. Any physics principle from, say, the proton, or even the smallest, quantum particle to the biggest thing, always has to level, always has to be in equilibrium. Think of it that way. Okay? So what's happening is this ship is like way off course. And then sooner than later, that ship, what we're doing is like it's making a beeline back to where it should be. And people are anxious. It's like the ship's going the wrong way. Political leaders and all those people go, oh shit, we got to keep the ship on track. Otherwise we lose our power and all that. They don't have power. They've never had power. So people are going to start to lose, value systems are going to start to change. There are going to be a lot of people who get destroyed because they hold on to them. But then there are going to be a lot of people to go, oh yeah, the new value system makes more sense. So in XI we teach, there's a lot of fear, but instead of eliminating the fear, in XI we teach you how to use fear to accelerate your growth and your potential, because that's what it's used for. Fear, anxiety, guilt, shame, all those things that have held us back, we can use that potential to perpetuate us forward. And I can give you an example of that if you want, but.
Please do.
Okay. So for example, guilt and shame and fear, like you talk about, those are, in the natural world or natural intelligence, it allows you to push beyond your limitations. You have a fear, say for example, of, if I don't jump to my next level, what I'll do is, I'm going to die, basically. So it's an evolutionary process. So that's how fear works. In nature, fear basically pushes, the plant, the planetary systems, the mammals, the animals out there to go, I'm going to go try this. So fear allows us to jump again to higher possibilities. And when people use that fear, it's a great, it's a great accelerant. If you look at people who have been highly successful, it's the fear of not becoming who they are. It's a great accelerant to jump out of where they are into, say, massive wealth or success. So that's how fear is used properly. There's one caveat to it, but guilt, for example, guilt is where the real definition of guilt is like, shit, it's like if I stay here, I'm losing my precious time. So I'll feel guilty. So if I don't use, say, if I don't make the most out of the time that I have here, that's a different version of guilt. So what society has done is they revised all those definitions, and this is where people go. This is where the church, this is where your political leaders, this is where your parents and so on have taught you to be guilty. Basically, guilty, being fearful, being shameful is basically go, nope, you better not move out of the paradigm that we've created for you. You better stay where you are. And that's where humans have done. They've literally like stopped growth. They've stopped the evolutionary process, and it's a revolution. So in XI or in real, say, definitions, first principle definitions, they're not meant to keep you stagnant, because that's what fear, guilt, shame, and many other, even honor. It's not about that. It literally is about, hey, you know what? I better jump ahead. So a lot of people will get the new definitions of fear installed in, and that fear will accelerate them into their greatness.
I have a question about this because fear is something that is often a reaction to trauma, to things that have happened that are deeply disturbing.
Yes.
And as a clinician, I work with fear
Yep.
in trying to help people become free of their fears that are inhibiting their ability to truly own their space.
Yes.
And certainly I've dealt with my own fears,
Exactly.
and oftentimes with ADHD, it's fear of not being liked. It's fear of making some sort of disaster,
Yes.
fear of failure, and these kinds of things. And so, can you talk more about how you help people healthfully harness fear
Yes.
to
Yeah,
go in a positive direction? Because I'm working on this concept with you and trying to follow it.
Yeah. So instead of like what most people do is they minimize fear. They basically minimize fear. In NLP, they mask the fear. What XI does is like, wait, well, let's redefine fear. Let's redefine that. What fear actually means for you. So when people start to see, like, say there's a traumatic situation, okay? What most people have done, again, through parenting or whatever, not evolving properly, say that you're fearful of, say, and I'll pick something from the audience, of authority. Is that okay? You're fearful of
Sure.
authority. So basically, you see an authority figure, you diminish yourself. You make yourself small, right? That's a fear that people have. Or a fear of being accepted, or a fear of being liked, like for you, for example. Okay, so you've attached those definitions of fear to fear. That makes sense for you? So
Yes.
basically, when fear runs, you go, oh, I better stay the way I am because I don't know what I'll be if, I better say who I am, in this case, for the fear of being not liked. Or in some cases, like, I better change who I am for the fear of not being liked. I'll adapt to whoever that's out there. So you use fear still as an accelerant or, again, a stagnation process. In this case, so we redefine fear in that situation, that specific fear of not being liked. So in this case, you redefine fear into, it's like, well, you know, if I don't become who I am, my best possible version of who I am, then I'll never experience who I am, who I could be. And that's a huge fear for people, by the way. So if you redefine fear in that motion, you really don't care what people think of you as long as you're going towards becoming a pure version of yourself in that case, in that specific case. So again, you use fear as an accelerant rather than a stagnation process for your clients. And you'll see the difference. It's like, oh, they used fear to stop something. Okay. You can use fear, turn it around to move away from that something that made them stop their lives. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, this makes a great deal of sense.
Yeah.
And the way that fear has a corrosive quality for people when they shrink themselves because they're afraid of not being enough or not being liked.
Yeah.
It's something that can very, very much be a toxic load for
Yeah.
people who have dealt in their lives with being shoved around or feeling less than or what have you. So
Yeah.
the ability to recognize the element, which is
Right.
fear,
Right.
and then be able to go, okay, I know where my fear comes from. I know what it is. I know where it is.
Yeah.
And I can, number one, let go of it. Number two, recognize how to be beyond it and not use it as a reference point for who I am.
Yeah. So I like the words you used: corrosive, toxic,
Yeah.
and those are fantastic words, by the way, and they're accelerants. So, but fear is corrosive, by the way, because, but the problem is like, what are you putting that corrosive substance on? Most people put that corrosive, say, identity on their future self, their potential. And then this is where they become stagnant. So we use fear to go, oh, let's burn away or let's burn those bridges that have made me be in this space. Let's burn the old identity of who I am. Let fear, again, dissolve the old identity because it's very powerful, like you said. And when you dissolve the old identity of who they are, their pure potential, say, exists. So instead of, again, most people, what they do is they put the fear on their future self. In nature, it's the same fear, but in nature, they put it on their old self. So the trauma, say, that animal went through, becomes a learning experience to be a better version of themselves. If you apply that to humans, that trauma that they experience, they start to learn from that trauma, and that one dies off. It disconnects from their identity. They don't carry it into their future self. And then that trauma is gone.
Yes, it is. And this comment is a really good one. I have a deep-seated fear. It's hard to shake.
Yes.
I have deep-rooted fear. That was the comment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I can say about the concept of fear, of anxiety, of a negative self-concept, and a lot of the work that I have done in the psychedelic space is to
Yeah.
watch people safely take a medicine and to launch themselves beyond it to a point where, for the very first time, they don't feel that
Fear.
overwhelming sense of self-loathing or fear, and they feel they feel released from it.
Yes.
And then they come back and begin to integrate that feeling of being free into themselves, the level of power that they're able to move into. is it's profound. It's been profound for me in my life to see my own value, and to release fear, and to release the fear of being judged, the fear of being, not enough.
Mhm.
I think this is really one of the quintessential
Yeah.
um,
So
development things for human beings.
yeah. So what you're talking about, basically, I I explained the science to it. So like in the psychedelic experiences, you leave your old self behind, your traumatic self behind. You go into a potential, right, of what you could be, and then you come back and you go, oh, well, I don't need this old self. That is, so again, you're using fear in a proper way. You're not minimizing fear. You're just going, oh yeah. So you're using fear as an accelerant in that case. Again, the ayahuasca situation or whatever plant medicine that they choose, they get to see their greatest potential. They go, that's out there for me. It's a safety mechanism. It's a guaranteed mechanism because it's out there for them. They've seen it. They've experienced it. They come back home and go, yeah, you know what? I don't need to carry this version of myself anymore. And they leave it behind. So it dissolves. So in XI, we just take it a step further. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like you start to understand that there's a pure version of you out there somewhere, but you just can't place it yet. But you know that you can't bring this old version of trauma with. So, and then they take their plant medicine journey. And what happens is like, they just leave this behind. They go into their plant medicine journey and they go, oh, I'm going to stay here. And this is where they get faster transformations because they don't have to come back and resolve it at a physical or linear level. They just fix it at, say, wherever higher level of, say, time and space that plant takes them. And they just stay there. And everything else, they come back and they go, oh, there's no fear. It just like changes them radically. Oh, someone's saying, can you
Yes.
talk about trust?
Please go ahead. Go ahead and answer that one. You can run with that one.
Sure. You know, and this person is like scattered. Whoever asked that. So basically, that's not trust. Trust is what most people, and again, specifically this person, is where it's like, well, I'm going to have this guarantee. I'm going to have this guarantee in case that guarantee doesn't work out. I'm going to have this guarantee in case that one doesn't work out, you know? So it's like multiple layers of possibilities. It's like, I'll keep this open, I'll keep this open, I'll keep this open. That's not trust. I don't know what that is, but I don't consider that trust. Trust is like, yep, that's the direction I'm going and I'm sticking with it. There's no like guarantee. There's no backup. You just trust that your highest version is going to be, your next version of yourself is going to be a better version of who you are. The second piece about trust, and that was specific for that person. The second piece about trust is that most people trust an outside force. And that's where most people go wrong, because an outside force almost always, it doesn't turn on you, but it doesn't make you more trustworthy. So an outside force is, well, I'm going to let God handle it. In that question, I'm going to let the universe handle it. I'm going to let my father handle it. I'm going to let so-and-so handle it. So when you give away, say, that trust to an outside force, whether it's an angel or somebody physical, it doesn't matter. You don't have trust in yourself. And that's a problem with trust, okay? So in that case, you start to trust that you're creating the next version of yourself better than the previous version. That's all you need to know about trust. And once you do that, the world doesn't become a scary space. Because what most people have fear about or go, well, since I don't trust the world, I'm going to have a huge savings account. I'm going to put $10 deadbolt locks on my door and so on like that, and then somebody attacks them outside. You know what I mean? That kind of deal, where they render their distortions. So, so in that case, again, the only thing, again, I need to say that one more time. Just trust, or you can ask, how can I trust myself that the next version of who I am, okay, moment by moment, is better than the last version? What do I need to do to render that pattern? And you just keep asking that every moment, every day. And then you'll start to recognize that you can trust upon your higher self to like come in and guide you.
Yeah. That's the way that I view it too.
Mm-hmm.
And to see people
Mm-hmm.
be able to break through and recognize their real value
Yes.
beyond fear, beyond toxicity. These are moments where you recognize people do, my gosh, 15 years of healing in a single moment when they
Yes.
actually recognize that. And
Mm-hmm.
whether it is that you have done the talking it out of whatever it is that happened to you,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that developed the space where you're at,
Yeah.
when you recognize your real value,
Yes.
you that's when you've gone to the next level for yourself. And
Yes.
that can be that you can recognize that several times in your life and continue to
Mm-hmm.
move up, but it's such a powerful set of realizations.
Yeah. Well, real value, just defining that, is real value is not based on how much money you make, how much, in today's society, basically, from Andrew Carnegie, real value is like how much input can you put into society? That's not real value. That's a loss of value. And that's what most people, have decided on what the definition of value is. What you're talking about, Jeremy, is like, wait a second. Uh, I'm an infinite being creating myself in this reality. That in itself has value, and it's got great power as well. You're not running a victim pattern or anything like that. Once you see your value, you command, say, wealth or success. And this is where your physical, say, realities start to shift and change. Real value, and in today's society also, Jeremy, they're talking about, trillion-dollar companies. That's not real value. It's just that the value of the dollar has been depreciated so much that, say 100,000 is now $100,000 is now $1 trillion. The value of people didn't change. In fact, if you're equating value to the wealth of nations or societies, every empire has failed because over time, $1 trillion won't mean anything to you. So in today's society, real value is coming back to the person, which is really huge for people. People don't care, on, say, external value systems. They care about themselves, and that's where they start to love who they are. And this goes beyond AI or anything like that. All those societies or the deep state, whatever you want to call them, they're always going, hey, this is what's valuable. You better adapt to this value system or you're not worth anything. That's what you've been trained on, right? You better adapt to the teaching. You better adapt to the culture, the religion, the whatever, the mindset, the political, or you're not worth anything. Most people are waking up to that. It's like, wait a second, that's not real value. Real value is, the connection between my higher self and, my physical self.
Yes. Yeah. Moss, thank you
Mhm.
so much for having such a great conversation this evening, for working with Johanna, for working with Misha,
Absolutely.
for bringing this incredible, just timeless wisdom that you
Mhm.
bring from your experience. And I want to give you the opportunity again to talk about the things that you have
Mhm.
coming up, the things that you are offering,
Mhm.
and go for it.
Yeah, a lot of that is on the XI code, the XI code, exponentialintelligencecode.com. If you're new to us, sign up for the newsletter. We don't spam you or anything like that, but you get a few free meditations, hyper meditations, to start your journey. The one thing that for new people, you don't need a session with me right away. I would go into, like the 10-day Know Thyself program. Um, it's a 10-day journey on helping you understand yourself. The 10-day XI Code to Love, XI Code to Abundance. Take those and understand who you are first. And it'll accelerate your space way beyond anything that you've done. And it's not coming from me, it's just people who've done the courses. And then if you need a private session, because I'm booked months ahead, if you need a private session, then that's fine, but you're not using it to heal yourself, you're using it to accelerate yourself. Okay? Um, the If you go to Masati, MASATI.live, that's my YouTube channel, and there's so much free content on there, Jeremy, on why things happen the way they do and what you can do about it. So search that again, and Masati.live, I do a free talk every Sunday. You can join that, and we have deep conversations. I scan people as well during then. So there's lots of ways. There's my Substack channel if you want to know the science or the deeper understandings of where society's headed. So I don't make predictions. I make calculations on where society is headed and what you can do about it to stay on top.
I'd like to number one thank you, Moss, and thank the chat, all the people that have been so active in this chat the whole time, the wonderful comments, the sharing, the willingness, and everything. It makes it so much more fun to do these kinds of conversations because you have people joining in, people giving their 2 cents and everything, and so many wonderful things. The
Absolutely.
work that Moss and I do are definably different. I'm a
Mhm.
licensed marriage and family therapist in California. I do therapy with individuals and couples. I do really intensive coaching with people who are neurodivergent and have or have ADHD or both. And I work with people using some of the philosophy of XI. I do work with people who are ADHD,
Mhm.
both with and without medicine, psychedelic medicine, and the way that I've seen incredible progress made by people with ADHD using ketamine. It is a deeply profound sense of self that I see with people beginning to develop using the medicine or just simply doing the coaching with me where we just get down to how to help you focus, how to help you
Mhm.
see the light inside yourself, how to help you understand just how beautiful, special, unique, and incredible your abilities are, even though you're living in a world that tends to discount just how incredible you actually are. I hope
Yeah,
you recognize that.
absolutely.
And if you, yeah, and if you want to come to a retreat that I have coming up, it's going to the link is in the description and in the chat. I'm going to be doing a ketamine based retreat in Tahoe on the first weekend of October. And it's going to be in a beautiful Airbnb right there on the lake. And it's just going to be an absolutely lovely space to be. You're not going to want to miss it because it's good people, it's good energy, it's good food, it's good medicine.
I love it.
So, yes, Mas, as always, it's always such just an absolutely wonderful time to have a lovely conversation with you. And thank you for your knowledge, your wisdom, and everything. And I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, whenever we get together, we get into the real conversations that matter. So it's beautiful hanging out. So love it.
everybody who's out there, recognize just how lovely and wonderful you are, that your value goes so far beyond anything that you can count on this plane. It goes beyond your bank account, the car you drive, the things you wear. Your value is so cosmic. It is so abundant, and you deserve to live that rich and abundant life. So live well, treat each other well, treat yourself well, and go be something great.
Absolutely.